Good morning. Do you see the squirrel up ahead? I have a family of a ton of squirrels. Well, not a ton, about 3 or 4. And I've been feeding them probably for the past, I don't know, since about 2006. And it's great. And I feed the birds as well. Isn't that just the cutest thing? They've hidden away, but Babushka, I just wanted to say hello, and I'm going to be mailing some stuff as I've been trying to clean up my yard, and I have to go back and, do some homework here too. But I'm going to wait for the post office to open, and yeah, you're getting what you asked for. And I'm also sending some goodies to Rosemary and to her daughter. I made fresh bread. Here's another squirrel. So I've been up all night cooking, baking bread, cleaning the kitchen, taking care of business. And then I took a nap, and I'm up again. And I had tonight off, but one of the young women where I work, she just had the COVID vaccine, and she called me last night because she was feeling the effects of it and wanted to know if I would work for her. And I said yes. Isn't that just adorable? Some of the new neighbors that live above me, one of them is a social worker, and they love gnomes, and put these here in the Mexican oregano. I started this little patch of Mexican oregano about 2 years ago, and we'll see how far it spreads. But I just think that's so cute. So yeah, life has been okay. It is what it is. I'm feeling healthy. Francis is doing well. And to Catherine and Tim out there, hello and congratulations. You each have a child, or, they're 18 now, that just graduated high school. Congratulations, for your kids. And isn't this beautiful? Life is good. So I'll be leaving in a few hours, and I'm feeling good. This spot here, I would say about 6 or 7 years ago, it was what we called a bad patch. It was awful. It was overrun with blackberries. Not that that's a bad thing, because I love to pick blackberries just about every summer. But with the opioid epidemic, especially with the fentanyl, and there were some problem neighbors, very problematic. It attracted a lot of naughty people. And because there's a bus stop nearby, all the homeowners and condominium owners and some of the apartment renters, we decided to pitch in and clear out all of this blackberry stuff. It's gone now. And some of the homeowners, they all participated their time and started planting like native plants and things. This ditch here, you can't really tell unless it's really pouring down rain. It's actually a tiny creek. And a lot of this, too, it needs to be cleared away. And it will. But I love this hill. It's so beautiful. Sometimes in the middle of the night, on my night off, if I have a hard time staying awake, rather than drinking more caffeine, I'll jump outside and I'll go up and down this hill. It helps me out a lot. And I've been thinking a lot too. You know, I did a video not too long ago out to someone about vaccines and my experience growing up with a parent who was inflicted by a virus, in particular, the virus from poliomyelitis. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at all that. All those ferns and things. Eventually they'll get clipped back too. Francis reminded me, and he actually sent me an article that really brought it to light, because I did do a video about the history of the polio vaccine. And I might later on put in a link to that PBS documentary of the Great Polio Crusade. It's a wonderful documentary. I'll probably link it to this video later on, maybe tomorrow or the next day. Depends on how things go at my work. Isn't this great? Sometimes I'll find salamanders or even little frogs in this. Yeah. Just a tiny little Boggy Creek. Just beautiful. And I'm glad that Francis reminded me about this issue, about the reality of the vaccines, because they have a patent to them. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. There's different vaccines from different companies. Now with Jonas Salk, you know, it was real trial and error. And in the mode of production, things were very dicey. But I'll tell you, and it's something that I knew in the back of my head, and I should have brought it out in that video I made about polio. His vaccine did not have a patent. It was a show of solidarity in a way, although the March of Dimes has become a huge, huge bureaucracy, like a lot of them, like the Salvation Army, things like that. However, the March of Dimes is when everyone put a dime toward it. Back then, in the 40s and 50s, a dime was a lot of money. My dad got polio when he was 32. And the virus travels basically through the water. And then, if you share food and stuff, things like that. And it was horrible. It was the AIDS scare of its time. And a dime was a lot of money. But it wasn't too bad. Babushka, your grandfather John used to tell me that back in the 1930s and early 40s, when he was a young man, a young teenager even, you could take a girl out on a date, or go with a group of friends, and you could see a movie. He called them shows on a dime. And including that dime, you got, a soda, usually from a soda fountain. A lot different back then. Oh, look at this. Isn't this wonderful? And you got the movie, and you could get popcorn or candy, usually on a dime. Now, apparently, and I'm glad Francis reminded me of this, the government asked Dr. Salk to patent the thing, to patent the cure. And I believe they also wanted Albert Sabin to do the same thing, because Sabin came out with the vaccine with the live virus that we use today. But Salk's vaccine was made with the dead virus. And that was iffy and touch and go. Well, Salk apparently spoke out loud and said, no, the vaccine here is for the people. The people paid for it, and that's the way it's going to be. So the government did some spying on his background. So this is back in the 1950s. And that was also during the witch hunt. Anti-union, anti-communist. It didn't matter what level of socialism or communism one might be involved in, or even if somebody grabbed a pamphlet, or if people were organizing for union rights. It didn't matter whether it was on a level of Stalinism or, like what I like to study, on the level of Trotskyism, because I don't like Stalinism. But it was the witch hunt of the McCarthy era. And the McCarthy era was awful. It only turned around and bit everybody in the butt when McCarthy and his cronies, and there were not just Republicans in that, Democrats participated as well. It was a witch hunt. When they started going after the military, then there was hell to pay. And, who was president at that time in the 50s? Oh, Eisenhower, yeah. I just thought I'd bring that up. It's interesting, and it makes me wonder and think how things are going to pan out in the future. At my work, just for the past 4 days or so, we no longer have to wear masks at my work. Not just me and my coworkers, but also the merchants, merchandisers who come in, all of that, the truck drivers, if they come into the building, if we've had the vaccine. And it's such a relief too, because sometimes we get deliveries of thousands of pieces of freight, and I work like a basketball player. I don't know. It's hard. It was so hard just going through the motions and having to breathe. But I did it. And then I have my mask in my pocket here just in case somebody walks by. That's okay. Or if I take the bus, or if I have to go into another building. But things are starting to switch. So, I look like hell. Like I said, I've been up all night. Babushka, I hope you're doing well. I know you've been working your ass off. Anyone out there who's watching this, my daughter works in a pharmacy. That's what she does. Talk about solidarity. And I know, sweetheart, you touch people's hearts. And I know you've been dealing with all the stresses. I couldn't imagine. At my work, we have a pharmacy as well. The head of our pharmacy has a great dry sense of humor. I see him once in a while, but usually I'm gone by the time he's starting his shift. Keep on keeping on, sweetheart. And happy birthday. And to all those folks out there, thank you for sticking around with me. And new subscribers, thank you for joining in. Make sure you look at past videos. I'm going to add to the conclusion of how I forgave my father, because that's really important. And like I was telling my daughter, it is part of her legacy. Really important stuff. But I should be heading in. I had to open all the windows last night. And yeah, you can see it's gray up there. It was raining. But making homemade sourdough bread, it was really fun. And Babushka, I made something sweet for you. You know, it's not what you asked for, but I'm sending it with what you asked for. Yeah, has to do with lemon and chocolate and a nice tea. So anyways, I don't know what else to say. And I don't know what you guys might think out there. You know, leave a comment if you like. The next few years are going to be very interesting. And this is not going to correct itself overnight. And who knows, you know, it's going to be really touch and go. The economy, you know, and I think about what people have been going through. Not just here, but everywhere, in all layers. We'll see how things pan out. It's going to be very, very interesting. I know in the Midwest and in the South, there are certain warehouses and factories where people are going on strike. Some have been successful, and some have still been in the fight. Some are union, and some are not. And I don't think it's just this country. It is most definitely happening all over the world. but I better get in. I have like an hour before the post office opens up. And I love you guys. And, oh yeah, and my tutor is coming right afterwards when I get home. Please ring that bell and like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.